All right. Hello, everybody. Bit of a weird time to stream. We are in the morning, and I did think I was going to start like 10:45, so I apologize for anyone who was waiting. I expect we have a bit of a lower viewer count right now, but is what it is. No big deal. Just providing, good classic Scrim Zone content for all of y'all. So the game we are going to be watching today is Spectres versus the Metabusters. So this is the last game for both of these teams in the first round robin. Spectres is looking to end 4-0 with their sole defeat being to the New York Nutbusters, the team on top. And Metabusters is really just looking to get their win in the first round robin. Try not to end up 0-5 here. Honestly, I think this is going to be a pretty good series. I think we're already seeing, I think we were already seeing some banter in all chat or in season discussion as this game was happening. Zilko throwing the classic "Don't ban Timo," and then some other typing stuff. Or I guess this kind of happened as draft started. So nothing too crazy. I'm gonna try and get the draft link pulled up, and then once I get that all good, we can take a look at some of the kind of like graphics for the players and stuff. That was not right. Do not look at that. All right. So going into the player highlights, our key matchup is actually going to be Cerberus versus Silico. These players have not played against each other at all yet. Silico actually has been performing pretty well in the mid lane this season. Despite the record, I think he's been putting up really good performances. It's just tough when your team is going 0-4. Cerberus has been playing insane out of his mind this season. 7-7 overall record. I think in season games it's been a lot better. His KD is 3.57, which is a very good number. But yeah, I'm excited to see how these players match up into each other. I think they're probably two of the best players in the league right now, so getting to see how they match up is going to be very, very fun. Our key player for the Metabusters is actually going to be Garrett. Hidiri has been struggling a little bit due to COVID recently, so I think he is not playing this game, and Garrett is going to be in instead. Garrett has been performing very, very well recently. I think his most notable performance was probably when he subbed for Mass Valorant Pirates in the Frostbite tournament, and I think went deathless throughout the bracket stage. So definitely has the potential to put out insane numbers, especially when paired with other very good players, like Silico in the mid lane that we were just talking about. He has 58 games played, 48.3% win rate, a KD of about 2.5, which given the win rate is not too bad. It has played 23 different champions, a very diverse pool, can be flexed into a lot of different roles. And then Hong is the player that I want to look at on Spectres. I think they said that he was going to play AD carry this game, but likely he's going to end up on support. I know Caesarius has been playing AD carry, and Hong's been going to support a lot. He's played 46 champions in the server across 135 games. Big player for us. Win rate 52.6%, very impressive, and slightly over a 3 KD. If he's playing support, I believe he's played Amumu and Ashe the most, so I'd expect to see those champions come out. A lot of Ashe priority in this series regardless. Very good support and AD carry in the meta right now. Champs to watch. So Caesarius also has the featured character of Ashe support, but I do think it is going to be Hong in that role. Caesarius on ADC, we're probably going to look for the Ezreal, which is actually shared between him and Garrett. I would not be surprised to see Jacob Zanami either banned or picked. He has played like a ludicrous 38 games with a pick, 3.28, very solid KD. Silico's best performing mid lane is actually the Xerath. Just one win and no losses, but about a 6 KD. I believe that was last season versus the Closeted Furries. I think he was able to just eliminate the enemy support about 4 times consecutively in that game. Then for Honan, we are looking at that Cho'Gath top lane. Noam has the Zac that he's been performing pretty well on, but I expect that to not come out because they have been doing a bit of meta busting this season. Sarvis's Ari looked very good in the previous series, so it'll be interesting to see if it comes out again. And Kane is a good champion to look for, but I don't think it's going to show up in this series. Kane is not very strong in the meta right now, so I doubt we'll see it come up. And then Avery's Riven is definitely something to look out for. Has a lot of kind of like outplay potential into the tanks that Honan seems to favor. We could also see something like the Fiora into that as well, and I know he has a lot of experience on Yasuo, so that would be another champion to look for from him. Yeah, and I think that is it. So we can go ahead and take a look at draft. So it looks like they do first pick that Ezreal, which I think is pretty smart. Both Cesarius and Garrett have a lot of priority on that pick, so getting it locked down early is pretty good. And then Zeri Lulu gets locked in. So I do think that this does mean that Hong is going to be playing the AD carry. I doubt Hong would play Lulu, and he's been talking of how he's going to play Zeri for a very long time. So finally getting to see Hong play Zeri this season is going to be very exciting. Sona is paired with the Ezreal, which I think is a very good pick here. Just playing safe and scaling, and it kind of matches the scaling potential of the Zeri Lulu. The Lulu doesn't really have any huge kill threat onto the Sona, so you can kind of play safe. Sylas is grabbed for the mid lane, presumably. Only really one good ultimate in the Lulu so far. Zeri ultimate does basically nothing for Sylas. And it is countered by, or kind of countered, not really, but it's a skill matchup for the Akali. Does give Sylas another really good ultimate to use, which is not ideal for the Spectres. But they are just going to be egoing this very high skill matchup, which is exactly what we wanted for the mid lane of the series, so I'm quite excited for it. It looks like Spectres actually just does a no ban. I believe in season discussion and pinged Noam and asked what to ban. So a bit of BM from there. A little disrespectful. Kind of interesting. And Silica says he is going to go try hard, so we'll see if that actually does end up happening. And then Vi ban is not the best, I don't think. You don't really have a champion who can't deal with Vi. Obviously, the Ezreal is going to be very strong, and him getting locked down is not great, but he can kind of just Arcane Shift out. And Sylas is going to be tanky enough that Vi isn't going to be a huge threat. But Riven taken away, very smart. I like that. But the Udyr is left up, which I think is very notable. Yuumi gets banned, which again, that's just like a blatant disrespect ban. Sona's already locked in. You are not picking Yuumi here. I don't know. I don't like to see this from Spectres. I think they're really underestimating Metabusters here. I think it's just not a good way to draft against them. Forgot to mention the other bans. Hong, probably target ban for Annie. And then Sarvis's Ahri is obvious, and Anzelise is also pretty targeted. Then Ashe, Jhin, and Caitlyn, they're just taking away all this like safe utility AD carries. So I think those are good bans, but these second round bans from Spectres are just like blatantly disrespectful. They are going to get the Udyr locked in for Anne. This is not surprising. What is surprising is that it didn't get banned over Vi. This champion has been absolutely dumpstering everyone, but I guess it did just get nerfed. So they could have thought that it went down in priority a little bit and decided to just leave it up. Now, what I really don't understand is, if you're picking Renekton, why did you ban Riven? Because Renekton absolutely slams Riven. It is like her worst matchup. So I think you probably could have taken a Renekton here and just left the Riven up and then banned the Udyr instead. But is what it is. We'll have to see how it affects the game. And then Lilia is the jungler picked up for Noam. So this is another one of those Metabusters drafts where it looks very meta, but we might see some lane swaps to kind of complicate it. I think it's possible that Silico could grab the Renekton mid here and just send the Sylas top. Or maybe Sylas jungle, Lilia top, Renekton mid, or something interesting like that. There's a lot of potential for stuff to kind of happen here. I think Renekton into Akali is favored in the mid lane, but maybe even or worse in the top lane, so I'm not entirely sure. But Garen is the pickup here. As far as I remember, that's pretty good into Renekton. He does gain the bonus health from Dominus, which doesn't really affect his ability to die to Garen ultimate, so pretty good pick here from Avery. I also think this champion is just pretty good. Some people are sleeping on it, but we actually grabbed it in a game last week and it did pretty well. And it's showing up a lot in like Academy and Challenger leagues, so I think people are just sleeping on Garen in general. I'm going to see if I can hop into game real quick. Gotta download it, so just head back to some highlights. Okay, just a quick update. I am just waiting on my League client to update, and then we'll be able to hop into game. This is the same thing we ran into during Frostbite, so you'd think that I would have remembered and avoided this problem, but unfortunately not. We'll have to see which lanes these champions go to. I'm going to believe it's just as easy as what it looks like, and you don't have to read too much into it, but it's possible that they do go for some flex picks, and we'll see something interesting. I do think it's cool that even though the Nami is left up, we are seeing something different from Jacob. Shows a bit of flexibility, which is always good to see. And I do really love taking the Akali into the Sylas matchup. I don't know if it's like a smart choice, but it is definitely a fun choice. And as the person who's casting the game, that is good. Okay, well, I was attempting to get... Okay, never mind. Website is just being a little slow. Okay, so in the meantime, we actually do have a few more highlights to go over. If I can get to them. Yep, okay, so here we go. These champion matchups we've not had are Nectin versus Garen before. Lilia versus Udyr we've had twice. 2-0 in favor of the Lily, and she has a 25 KD in this matchup, which is fucking ridiculous. So, it's pretty interesting. And we've actually had the Sylas Akali matchup 3 times, and it's gone the way of Sylas every time. I think Akali is definitely the harder champion to execute in this matchup because Sylas's gameplay is pretty simple. Just hit your buttons on her while you can, and then you have the extra ulti, which is going to help you out a lot. Akali's a lot harder. You have to position super well, know how to use your ultimate better. and all that stuff. Ezreal versus Zeri we've surprisingly never had, and Sona is a surprisingly very favorite matchup into Lulu. I knew it was definitely better. I did not realize it was going to be like 10-3. Kind of ridiculous. Okay, these player matchups, Avery versus Honan has actually never happened before. Noam versus Anne is pretty close. Anne has the game win advantage, but Noam has the better KD. Garrett is actually 3-0 into Hong Boba, which I think is hilarious. I feel like Hong is generally considered to be like one of the best players in our server, and people do not give Garrett the respect he deserves here. 3-0 into Hong with 3 wins and 0 losses. So honestly, that's just mad impressive. I think people are really sleeping on him, so I'm hoping for a good performance from him this game. Past performance, first time for every single topside member of the Meta Busters. Garrett is 9-8 on the Ezreal, as we already know it is one of his most played champions. Jacob has played Soto 5 times before and has actually 4 wins on it. Hong is 4-4 on the Zeri, kind of hit or miss. Sarvis has played Akali twice, but has a 10.67 KD across those 2 games, which is absolutely disgusting. Anne has played 13 games of Udyr, and has done pretty well. But definitely having the experience on the Udyr is nice, although the bot lane of Meta Busters would really scare me here. I think we can kind of gloss over these records. I don't think anything is too remarkable. Udyr has really been trending up this season, but every other champion looks to be about even. So nothing terribly interesting here. And then hopefully the replay file should actually load now. Fingers crossed. Yep, okay, so now we are in... Okay, so it looks like Meta Busters is just going for...
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Okay, this is the wrong game. I blame Anne for this. She sent me the games, and labeled this game clearly Spectres versus Meta Busters Game 1. However, that is not Game 1. Alright, give me a few seconds to actually pull up the correct game. Okay, I'm going to guess that what is named Game 2 is actually Game 1, because, very intuitive. And this looks right. Okay, cool. And it actually was Renekton mid into Akali, which I think is interesting. I would have loved to see the Sylas Akali matchup between Silico and Sarvis, but guess we are not getting that today. Teams are actually on the right side here. Everything is looking much better. Everything else is exactly as we expected. I think Sylas top while Renekton's going mid is definitely the expected outcome here. And I think, again, it looks like Meta Busters is just going for the easy 5-point. Spectres is kind of clustering up closer to the bottom of the map. They could be looking for an early play here, but the early ward down from Garrett is probably just going to diffuse any play that they're going for. Yeah, actually, Noam is kind of going in, but I think he's just trying to secure some extra early vision. Not going for anything too deep or risky. They're just going to play it slow and safe here on both sides. Both jugglers did go for the boss stomper. I think Lilia has more options here. I think for Udyr it's definitely safer to just take the extra shielding and not worry too much about it. For Lilia, I feel like whatever the blue one's called, like Gustwalker or something, might be the angle, but okay, Avery is having some fun with his Garen emotes. After game, we DM for side select. Huge Doab as a good take. You're not spoiling anything for me. Very appreciate that. I think the players to watch this game are definitely going to be Silico and Hong on both teams. Hong on the Zeri is a huge cover pick for him. Back on his like main role or whatever you want to call it. Zeri support we haven't seen too much, so I'm excited to see how he performs there. And then I think honestly the Renekton into Akali and then Sylas versus Garen in the top lane are just the more fun matchups to watch. Regrettably, I do really like Sylas versus Akali, so shame we don't get to see that, but we do have 4 Ignites in the solo lanes and not a single teleport in the game. So we're going to see a lot more fighting early and a lot less fighting late, I think, because there's going to be less ability for these solo laners to teleport to get to the larger team fights, so could be kind of interesting. Silico is taking a huge advantage in the mid lane early. Sarvis is just struggling to farm under tower, whereas Avery's doing the opposite. Anna's actually falling quite low to the Raptors here. Not going to get punished because the ward has expired, so they have no vision of it, but I thought maybe Silico is going to like walk up and try and invade, but does not end up happening. And Hong and Cesarius have the early push. I do feel like Lulu's level 1 and 2 are a lot stronger, so it's not super surprising. But I think Ezreal and Sona have the ability to just kind of outscale this matchup. As long as Hong does not have a Zeri moment this game, which may happen. Yeah, I'm not expecting bot lane to be super interesting. I think if it is, it's going to be bad for meta busters. But as I say that, of course, there is a fight breaking out. Hong drops low. Heal is burnt from Cesarius. Garrett is looking to pick up this first kill, but he's actually falling down low. Instead, Hong gets exhausted and it forces the flash out from Garrett. So that's 3 summoning spells expended on both sides, and Garrett is just going to have to back here to get out, I think. Sona offers some healing, but not enough, I think, to counteract this. And Anne is running down for a gank, but is going to be spotted on a ward, so this play should just be diffused. Yes, I was assuming that bot lane would be kind of boring, because neither of these teams really want to fight. I think it is in Spectre's favor to fight early, but generally we're going to see the top lane and mid lane scrapping. Silico does go in and pops the ghost to come kind of counteract the play, but Noam is sitting behind the wall. They do not have vision of this, and the bowling ball hits. Anna's dropping down low and is just going to die to Lilia or the Renekton. That's 2 flashes committed to make sure Anne dies there, but first blood does go to Silico. I think exactly who you wanted on in this game. The Renekton is going to have the ability to just snowball super hard. And actually, Metabusters took the decision to not back in the bot lane, and it seems like it paid off for them. Hong is quite low under tower. And maybe that means Garrett's going to be able to pick up some of this farm disadvantage. Noam spent a bit of extra time mid to kind of help Silico crash the wave. They were at a bit lower health because they were involved in that fight, and they're both missing flash, so it's a bit less safe for them to walk up. Honen's just trying to get a shove in, but he is really struggling to farm against Garen. Already had to take it back. Does come into lane with the Amp Tome, so he has a bit more damage, but this matchup is just going to be really hard for him. Garen's silence is going to really affect his mobility, and he's not going to be able to outplay as easily as he would be into other champions. Okay, it looks like Silico grabbed a control ward and a serrated Dirk on back, Akali backing for the Hextech Alternator. Silico obviously is going to be a bit stronger after getting the kill. I'm hoping we see the Prowler's Claw from this game. The more aggressive Renekton build, and it's definitely way more fun, and I think it's going to be very effective at stopping Hong. Obviously, the wild growth from Caesarius is going to make it very tough, because you're going to Prowlers in, try and lock down Hong, and then he's just going to get a lot bigger, knock you up, and it's going to be hard to kind of finish him off. But I do think Prowlers is going to be the angle, just for that gap close, and try to lock down Zeri, because I think Zeri is likely going to be the big problem here. However, we cannot ignore Avery. He's up like 30 CS in the top lane. Silas is not able to do anything here. And if Garen is ahead, he is not fun to kill. He does a lot of damage and is also just deceptively tanky with his W. Looks like Anne's looking for a gank here, but might just be able to pivot into grabbing the first dragon. Noam's clearing towards top, so it's going to be rough. Hong goes in, but Jacob's just able to walk under tower. The polymorph stun, CC chain comes down, and Garrett is just going to drop. And Turret is going to get a kill back onto Caesarius. Jacob was not able to get damage down to get kill credit. Silico's looking to turn this fight, but honestly, Anne and Hong's health bars are just so low, they're not going to be able to take the dragon. Fortunately for Metabusters, Noam is still top lane, so they're not going to have huge pressure down here, but Honan is going for the roam. Sarvis is kiting right into him, and he's able to grab the Akali ulti. They're not in the same lane, but the ult is still going to be strong, and he's able to pick up a kill with it, which is definitely mitigating the disadvantage he had from the top lane. He's now only down about 22 CS, and the kill's going to make up about 12 of those. So he's not too far down anymore. Really heads up roam by Honan there, realizes that he's not going to get anything done in his own lane, and decides to go to a lane where he has a very good ultimate for himself to steal. Nice play from Caesarius here, just heading mid, sacrificing a bit of his own health bar to prevent the crash on the mid, which is going to deny a turret plate from whoever would have picked it up on the side of Metabusters. Both teams looking pretty even right now. Avery's the player I want to look out for because he hasn't been able to impact the game too much here, but he is sitting on the most farm in the game, so he could be very strong later. Yeah, and Silico is just being a bit relentless here. Sarvis is having a very bad time in this lane, but there is a gank coming out, but there's a fight also breaking out in the top lane. Honan is so low on mana. He might just die to the Garen here. The ultimate comes down, and Avery is able to pick up the first kill of the top lane. Silica has managed to just survive this gank, and a Lily is coming back in. The Dominus is out. Silico is huge here. Anne is dropping down low. The Renekton W is just going to pick up this kill, and it gives over to Silico again. We might see this Prowler's Claw come out really early. Could also be something like the Eclipse now that they changed the build path. So the long swords do not actually indicate what item he's going for. But I think Prowler's Claw is just the only correct option here. And since they were able to pick up a kill on Anne, that should just be a free dragon. Garrett just ulting to shove out the wave, was looking for a bit of poke, but was not ultimately able to find any. Looking at the scaling advantage for this game, I think it is in favor of Metabusters, but only slightly. Because Renekton is the champion that's very fed right now, but he is absolute dog useless in the late game. Prowlers allows him to at least do something, but if he goes for the typical tanky build, he's pretty much just completely useless, especially without the teleport to flank. And I feel like Akali, Udyr, Garen all kind of fall off to an extent. Lilia, Silas, Ezreal, Sona are all just super strong late game. I think it is a tough call, but I think, in my opinion, Metabuster slightly edges out. But either team really wants to secure the dragons to make sure that they'll have that advantage later on. Sarvis is looking for a play, gets him super low, but Silico is just going to pick up a solo kill in the mid lane. He had help for the first two, but that third one was all him. Sarvis gets a bit too excited and goes for the tower dive and just forgets how much damage the tower does. Honan's actually sitting on Garen, so he might have the damage here to get a kill. Yeah, I do not think they have vision here. The Ignite does come down onto Avery, so he's dropping low. Flashes, but he's not in range for the W. Throws out this sad emote. he knows how close he was to picking up that kill. But he's actually able to get it now. Never mind. Garen is just too tanky. I thought he had the opportunity there, but it just was not enough. I guess that just really shows you the Garen players know how much damage Garen Ultimate does, and the Sylas players do not. So, potentially expected. Silica is actually roaming top, but is just going to clear out the ward and is not actually going to get anything done in terms of fights. This ward is actually really good. I do not know who placed it. Oh, it was Caesarius, and he actually intelligently places another control ward to destroy his own, denying the gold from Jacob. CS advantages in top and bot lane for the Spectres, but Silico and Noam are even to slightly ahead, although their advantage is mostly in the kills that they've been able to get in the 2v2, not strictly outlaning their opponents. The Prowler's Claw is picked up, so this Red Nectin is going to be huge for whatever fight happens next. The next dragon spawning in about 2.5 minutes, and I think Rift Herald is going to be up in 4 minutes. Someone must have taken it. Oh yeah, they already deployed it. I want to say top lane. I just forgot. Yeah, Honen's in a real tough spot here. It looks like he's going for the Riftmaker build here, which is a bit interesting. I've seen a lot of other things, but now a fight is breaking out. Hong does get stunned pretty quickly, but has not Zeri ulted yet, or it's currently still active. The stun was not enough to cancel it. Silco looks for a really good Prowler's play there, but Caesarius is able to just flash it. All the members are falling down very low, but Silco is able to pick up a kill on a Hong Baba, which completely ruins their ability to fight. That was super on a knife's edge. That really could have gone either way. Honen actually throws the E, hits a minion behind Garen, so he's just going to die in another solo kill. Anne goes in, but is promptly slept. Akali was actually able to pick up a kill onto the Sona, but I think Silico might just be able to kill Sarvers here. Yeah, and that snowball from Lilia is just going to be too much. Silico's huge this game, 6-0-1. But so is Avery in the top lane, and he's picked up a lot more plates. He's gotten 4 so far. Just looking at gold real quick, Silico is up about 1,000 on him. So he definitely is a stronger champion here, and it looks like he's going for the Ravenous Hydra early just to get some more sustain on top of what he already has in his kit, which should be able to keep him alive into these burstier champions. And he definitely knows what he's doing with the Prowler's Claw. Was almost able to Prowlers through Hong to get to Caesarius there, but good reactions for the Flash to kind of get out of that play. Gold is actually dead even. Metabusters do have a slight advantage in that they have the first dragon, but Spectres have very good vision control on the dragon this time, so it's going to be a bit tougher. They got the Rift Scuttle as well as a control ward and Pit, and now this pressure from top lane from Avery is starting to affect the game even more. Honen's held top trying to deal with this, and they are just likely going to be able to pick up this dragon with the 4-man. Nom could look for a steal. Does not end up getting it, but the sleep comes down. 2 of these members are caught out, and now they're collapsing into 4v4. Unfortunately, Garrett's projectiles are missing, but Caesarius is caught out, and they pick off the Lulu before the fight, so that means that no wild growth for the carries, and Hong is likely just going to fall here. Yeah, Silico with a godlike 7-0-1 so far this game, and Noam has been right there with him for most of these kills, 0-0-6. I think he missed a solo kill somewhere, and was just not able to participate in one of the other ones, but huge shout out to Noam and Silico this game, doing very well, affecting all around the map, and Sarvis is almost definitely just dead here. I don't see a world where he can live unless he just got out a little bit faster, but the Shroud of Darkness is good enough to get him out. Kali is a fun champion in that sense. Jacob is tempted to steal a Wraith there. Was not able to do it, but did get some stacks on the support item, so still leeching some gold off and there. The faster you complete that, the better, obviously. Is at 1 upgrade, it's very close to the second. And the second rift has just spawned. I think it's going to be really hard for the Metabusters to contest with Garen up in the top side. Very strong, but if you're able to move Lilia and Renekton up there, I don't think anyone beats you in skirmishes. Those champions are just too good. With Lilia's Altia able to affect up to 5 people, and Renekton is just so strong right now. Sarvis is trying to get out here, and Silica is just going to lock down Sarvis. He actually dashes a bit too close to the team, but Akali ult burned for literally nothing. And he's not going to have that for whatever the next fight is. Hong is just staying bot. Opts into the Kraken Slayer purchase here, just wants to deal as much damage as possible, not going for safety at all this build, or with this build, is really just trusting Caesarius to keep him alive instead of relying on items. He now has basically the most farm in the game, very close to Garen, and he's just trying to get as strong as he can because the fights have not been going super well for him. And I think Garrett is just in a really bad spot here. Arcane Shift's out, does not have flash, so he is just going to die. And the kill is not given over to the Zeri. Not what you want to see. Udyr's already behind. I don't think trying to get more kills on him now is the correct move. You definitely would just want to get the Zeri into the game as fast as possible. And so they were able to pick up a kill on the bot side, but I think they're going to lose a tower for it mid. Which, probably not worth it, to be honest. But I think Garen's presence there in that fight is just too much. They don't want to risk anything. Dying under the tier 2 tower in the mid lane would not be super optimal. Oh, and they're setting up a trap for Avery. I don't know if they have the damage to burst him, though. Yeah, it looks like they feel the same. Don't want to risk it. Jacob is looking at these two champions. Could have a play. Has flash ulti. Walks up and only hits Q. Does not go for the play. Honestly, could have thrown the game if he did that, but could have been fun too. So will not pass judgment. Both teams are looking to slow down the game a little bit. There's no huge objective up until the third Drake, which is spawning in about a minute. Garen is the big threat here, just pushing down the top lane. I don't know who could really stop him besides Silico. But you don't want to risk throwing the 800 gold bounty on Silico's head to the Garen, so it's probably better to not have him badge, and instead just keep killing Sarvis here. Sarvis drops down super low, but I think ultimately is just being able to get out here, but does have to burn ult every time Silico goes onto him, so I don't know if that's a good trade. I think... Yeah, I don't think Akali's going to have ultimate up for Dragon, which is actually super huge. Silas is also not going to have ultimate up for Dragon, but I think he's... Yeah, so he has no ult, and Akali doesn't either, but... I don't know. I think positioning is very important here. Metabusters are here first, and Silico burns the Blast Cone, ruining one of Spectres' methods to approach here. And they're waiting to start the Dragon. I think they're looking to get a pick. Specifically onto Anne would be very helpful. Silico is looking to box the Garen here. Does not extend too far. Careful of the tower. And Anne is just walking into so much Ezreal poke. Sarvis is able to get the E down on Garrett, but it's just getting locked up immediately. The Sona ult also just keeps him down. Ezreal ult does not find too many, but the Drowsy comes out. Silica is quite low and just gets killed by Hong. They're able to get one kill in trade, and this fight is a mess. It is a 2-for-2 so far. The Garen and the Renekton have both been shut down. Gnome is on the back line, and that is a double kill for Garrett. And are they able to pick up another one? Hong is getting so much damage down, but triple kill for Garrett. And I think Garrett is actually able... No, he does not get a Quadra, but that is a triple kill. And the ace is picked up for Metabusters, so they're sitting in a very nice position here. I don't think they are able to pick up the dragon, though, so we might just see another fight break out over that. Silas's build is... it's definitely something. He has not completed his mythic yet. The only person in the game to have not completed his first full item. Instead, opting for the Seeker's Arm Guard, which I think is kind of smart into this area, but I think just having that Riftmaker completion is going to be more important. No one played that fight super well, does end up falling, but gets so much damage done onto the back line of the Spectres, and it allows Garrett to kind of just clean up there. Garrett has very interesting itemization here. He's going a bit of a tankier build to kind of survive this area and Akali damage. And he knows Renekton is going to be dealing enough damage that he doesn't necessarily need to go full damage. And it looks like he's itemizing into one of the Last Whisper items. I'm not sure which one it is. The thing I'm looking at is that he doesn't have a tier, so it's going to be hard for him to get mana immune. I don't know if that's what he's going for, but he could struggle with mana throughout this game. Looks like MetaBusters is trading the dragon for their own mid turret, so it's a bit rough for them, and Spectres could just look to pivot to Baron here. And Garen's able to grab the top turret, which are worth extra gold. So he is sitting on a lot now. He actually is stronger than Silico now by about 200 to 300 gold, which is something to look for. He's going to be the big target in these fights, but both AD carries are sitting on a 200 gold shutdown. So they may be the bigger targets. Just want to take them out before they can output as much damage. Anne is so deep behind enemy lines. I don't really know what she's going for here. Silas ulti's burned, but he only has so long to use the Stone to Kali ult anyway. Don't really know what that play was. But the MetaBusters are able to eliminate the jungler, and 3 people just based. So they're just going to start at the Baron, and I don't know how Spectres is going to be able to stop this. Honen's just clearing out vision. They are sitting on top of the Scuttlecrab vision, but the Udyr isn't alive to smite this away. So they're just praying that Avery has something to do to stop it, but I don't really know what they have here. And Noam is easily able to pick up that dragon or the Baron and secure it for their team. The gold is still dead even here. With the Baron buff, MetaBusters might be able to grab a gold lead. But honestly, most of the deficit is just in the top lane. And if you just think of the Silas as a support, maybe the gold lead doesn't feel that bad. The next dragon is not up for another 3 minutes, and I think it's probably best for both these teams to sit back and scale, but Silico does need to pressure his advantage while he still has it. Renekton is going to fall off here, but he's been able to perform pretty well in team fights. Has only died that one time still. But it is going to be tough for him to stay alive too much, especially with the squishier build. But he goes down on Hong, is able to get the lockdown. Nova Kills has been purchased, you have to break out of it. The Drowsy and the Soda ult all come out, so that's 3 ultimates for just Hong. Actually 4, technically. Hoden stole the Zeri ultimate, then used it. Mostly for the auto reset, I assume. Not actually for the ultimate. It is not super good. Yeah, it looks like Spectres is just not positioning as well as they have in previous games. Sloppier than I would expect. Hong is looking to get towards the 3rd item. I do think it's interesting that he's going for the Infinity Edge this game over the Navori Quick Blades. I think because he's going Kraken Slayer, the extra damage on his attacks is going to be more important than his abilities. But it also makes you a bit less ult-reliant, which is always nice. Would have to ask him, though, for the exact numbers. Akali has picked up an Oblivion Orb. The extra magic pen on that item now is, or Umbrella is very useful for her. As well as they have so much healing on the other team. I think literally every champion except Ezreal heals a absolute shit ton. And Cerberus now with the Mercury Treads is not going to get locked down as hard by Renekton, which I do think is nice for her. Honan actually just recalls here. I think he was out of vision, so they don't know that there's only 4 there. He's going to just match Garen in the top lane though. Noam is just fishing with these bowling balls, really looking to hit a couple members to initiate the fight, just hit the sleep and get something going. Normally I'd say Honan does not stand a chance versus Avery, but with the Baron empowered wave, I think he can actually kind of hold him off. Definitely cannot fight him. They're just kind of waffling around the dragon right now. Anne is running away, does not want to get caught out again. And I think MetaBuster should have the potential to just grab this dragon. Garrett does not end up getting the cannon with the Ezreal ultimate, kind of sad. And now both top laners have rotated down and are going to be here for the fight. Honan, despite the rough game, is still throwing out the be happy emote, still in good spirits, so that's always good to see. And he has grabbed the Zeri ultimate again, which is a bit interesting. I think if you're grabbing the Zeri ultimate, you're only using it for the initial damage and not the buff that you get afterwards. Which I wouldn't have assumed was very good, because I think they nerfed the AP ratio, but we'll see how much damage it does. Oh, and Honan just flashes onto Hong, cancels him out of the wall, pops his Zeri ultimate and trade, and it burns out Hong's flash and ghost as well as his own ultimate, and Honan just solo kills Hongbaba. There's no way. The possibly just weakest member of the MetaBusters takes out the most important carry on Spectres just single-handedly outside the fight. That was crazy. Yeah, and with the Zeri dead, Spectres knows that there's no way for them to grab the dragon, so MetaBusters is picking up Soul Point here. 2 Chemtech Drakes, and Chemtech I think is probably the best dragon for Renekton in this game, as well as the Silas. So just bad news for Spectres, but MetaBusters is just all going to need to try their best to get out here. Sarvis is falling down quite low, but they just overstayed, tried to get too much in the mid push. Garrett dropped down super low. Silico is looking for so much, but he is not able to get enough done here, I don't think. And yeah, all 3 members that overpushed are now caught out and dying for it. Avery's falling down quite low, but they're able to stay alive under tower here. The Drowsy does come down, and Honan picks up another kill and another one. Honan now has 4 kills, despite how rough his early game is. And Saurus I don't think lives here either. And a triple kill for Honan. This man is popping off. Had a bit of a weaker laning phase, but really knows how to play Silas in the late game. Very impressive stuff. Baron pings are coming out. All members of the MetaBusters are alive, except for Silico, but he's the one pinging, so I think they're just going to run there as soon as he's up. Anne and Sarvis are both down, so it's really just going to be Garen and Hong versus the team. And it looks like Hong is just going to go bot and wave clear. The whole team is not here yet for MetaBusters, which is not super optimal. And now the Udyr is going to be there, so it's a bit more risky. They might not end up going for the play. Yeah, it looks like Baron will not end up being taken. Silas is now on 2.5 items. Not as many as some of the more fed members in the game, but definitely not embarrassingly behind anymore, which is very good. Hong is the first champion at 3 items, I think. Or no, him, Avery, and Silico are all sitting on 3. Okay, there's like everyone has 3 items, so I'm trolling. Noam is trying to 1v1 the Garen here, gets the sleep, and I think is just going to be able to run him down. Hits the smite to slow him, and the whole team is going to be here. There's a huge bounty on Avery's head, and the Ezreal ult almost picks it up, does not do enough damage. With this build, he just isn't going to do as much. Jacob really does not want to take this kill. Knows the gold is better on anyone else. And honestly, Spectres is getting a lot done, just burning so much time here. Noam throws the snowball and is able to pick it up. Gets the shutdown, but they're trading mid-turret for this, and they wasted so much time going for this. But Garrett is playing aggressively. Blastgun's over the wall, is now looking to poke down Anne, but Sarvis and Hong are sieging the bot lane. Silico goes down, Hong just dies. Is looking rough for them. They're able to pick up 2 turrets, but a lot of them are just going to fall, and this could be a Baron angle. The only members left alive are the Udyr and the Lulu, which is probably the best 2 if you're looking for a steal, but it's not going to be easy. The next dragon's up in a minute 20. If Metabusters are able to grab this Baron buff, the extra combat stats are going to be super helpful in securing the soul. Cesarius dropping down quite low and just dies. Honan goes over the wall. Makes short work of him. Interestingly enough, the gold lead is actually basically 0 until the Baron's taken. Anna's doing her typical split push strategy when things are going poorly. Might get caught out here though. Silas is maneuverable enough that he might be able to just cut the Udyr off. Not quite, but the slow from Seralda's might be enough. Forces the ghost out, which is probably what you want anyway. You might not want to waste time locking this down. And Honan is just going in and fighting. Tries to stall as much as he can for his team to show up. He's just going to fall. He somehow had a 700 gold shutdown after all those kills. But Garen is also down, which is a bigger deal. The exhaust does come down onto Udyr, and that means he's going to be able to do nothing in this fight. And Hong is here, but he has no frontline to support him. He just has the Lulu and the Akali. And I don't really know who the Akali can even kill anymore. Looks like Garrett is going for Bork. I did not know that was super good on Ezreal, but I guess it does make sense into these tankier opponents. It looks like the last Whisper was built into Seralda's Grudge, which does make sense. Thought we could have seen a Mortal Reminder, but I'm glad we didn't. The heal cut is not super necessary this game. And the Chemtech Soul might just be enough for Metabusters to win the game. Silka goes in, locks down Hong. Hong does get the Wild Growth to keep him alive, but it's not going to last for very long. Silico just flashes into the back line, and he has picked up 2 kills and is going to fall down for it, but Metabusters should just be able to win the game here. They are so strong and still have 4 members. But it looks like they're playing it slow. Don't want to risk it, don't want to overcommit and get wiped for it. Yeah, so we're just going to see him back off. They were able to pick up the kill on the Zeri Lulu, but without Silico there, they do not feel confident enough to end the game. And at 35 minutes, Honan finally does end up picking up the first top tower. Spectres has more towers spread across the map, but Metabusters does have the inhib taken down. No epic monsters are spawning for another 3 minutes, so we could see a fight around Baron then, but I'd like to see Metabusters try to leverage their soul to get an end off earlier, or just look for picks. Sarvis is in a bad spot here. He's level 15 to Noam and Silico's 18, but a fight is breaking out here. Lilia ult only hits 1. Ezreal ult comes down, does not hit anyone, but the Wild Growth is used onto Sarvis, not protecting Hong in this fight, and that's 2 ultimates down on both sides before this fight. The Ezreal ultimate is probably not super relevant that it's down. There's a 3v4 for Metabusters in the base. They're looking to try and end, but they just can't without their whole team there. When Noam's able to hit a ball onto Caesarius, kind of forcing him out of the fight. Silico's looking for an angle here, just staying out of range of Hong. And Noam steals away the Gromp. Yeah, Baron's now at 130. Metabuster is continuing to siege. Garrett goes in very aggressively. Hong just pops the ulti and punishes him for it. You cannot Arcane Shift into a Zeri this late into the game. Hong is 4 items. He will just burst you down. Honan is looking to get the kill here. Sterix is popped for Garen, and he falls down so low, is not going to end up dying. Noah might be able to just win this 1v2 mid. Silico shows up to help him clean it out. Noam does have to flash and lives off the Triumph. With Anne and Sarverse both down, there's pings on the Elder timer. No one's even looking for Baron, and Hong just gets caught out by a Sona ultimate. Again, I just don't know if Metabusters has enough to force an end to the game here. Honan is showing up here. Silico goes in, gets some damage down. Hong is chain CC'd, but he still has Guardian Angel, and Avery's just able to pick up a kill with the Garen. Ezreal ult comes in and does not do that much damage. This build does not provide too much damage on Ezreal's abilities compared to some of the other ones we've been seeing lately. It looks like it might all come down to an Elder fight, which a lot of games do. Baron is also going to be up about a minute beforehand, but it doesn't look like anyone's really going for it. Both teams know that Elder is the more important objective at this point in the game. Garrett's trying to poke down Avery. It's tough to outrun him with the Dead Man's Plate, but actually Spectres is just going to go for the Baron. Pings are coming down from the Metabusters that the Elder Dragon might be their priority instead. Noam is looking to contest this in some capacity, but the steal's going to be really tough, and even if you do steal, you're going to be dead for Elder, so I just don't think it's worth fighting. Garrett throws an ultimate, and it is just taken by the Spectres. Sarvis is going in immediately after, gets a lot of damage out of the Sona, but gets stunned as he's looking to finish off the kill, and Sarvis is dead. Noam is taking some damage, but is able to get Hong even lower. Silico is here, pops the Guardian Angel on Hongbaba, and Hong is just going to get caught here. It's very hard for him to get out here. The stolen Zeri ultimate just does enough burst to finish him off, and that is an 80 carry and mid laner for the Spectres dead before Elder Dragon. Honan was narrowly unable to stop Caesarius' back there and pick up another kill. Metabusters does not appear to care about the Elder. They're just looking to end. This could be a bit of a risky play. They've been unable to end before, but without the Zeri to wave clear, it could be a bit easier. Ezreal ult comes down, only takes away a Lulu's shield, does not actually get any damage onto champions, and falls down low, but Garrett's even lower. The ultimate comes out from Avery and picks up another kill. They're just not respecting the Garen, pushing way too far. And that's a 1 for 2. It's a bit rough. I don't even think Metabusters has the damage to burst this down anymore. And Hong's going to respawn. Honan is looking to pick someone off, but he's sitting on a ward. Yeah, I think Noam just wins this 1v1 though. Anne is playing way too overeager here. Knows that her team is up and just does not care to wait for them. So Noam is able to pick up a kill and trade. Elder is dealing a lot of damage here, and Noam might just be caught. Does end up falling. Yeah, the only person left alive who could steal this is Jacob, and it looks like he's just not going to go for it. Garrett gets some damage, but the Elder Dragon just reset. Do they have enough damage to get it? It's still on a ward. Jacob is still not looking for a steal. Just gives the Elder over. I'm amazed we're still in this game. Spectres is up about 3,000 gold now. The Baron was a huge help for them. And Zeri is now completely full build. Noam is sitting on 15 Magi stacks. Could be a little bit stronger if he had a bit more. But is also pretty much just at full build. Not looking to sell that item for anything else. I think he believes that he'll be able to get kills early in a fight and then use that extra damage from the increased stacks to kind of wrap fights off. And is also sitting on a Magi's but only has 1 stack, so I don't know if that is necessarily the move. But at this point, like, both teams are basically as strong as they're going to get. There's a couple players on both sides that aren't full build, but it's just going to come down to execution here. Whichever comp is able to play this game better is going to win. But you are playing into a Zeri, Akali, Lulu that all have Elder buff, so you're in a really tough spot here as the Meta Busters. They need to just not fight until that buff expires, and that's going to be very hard. Yeah, the Zeri poke comes down, tags 2. Noam is their big hope here. If they're able to sleep a lot of players, they might just be able to one-shot him before the Elder buff's able to be applied. But Spectres is being very methodical here, just clearing all the lanes, trying to get triple inhib. Timer on the Elder buff is almost over, so they could have an angle to fight here. Noam just went back to base. Actually did sell the Magi's for, I think, a death cap. And that may very well be the bowling ball. Is able to hit it onto Hong, and that forces them away from the tower. The next objective up is Baron in a minute and a half. These teams are both so strong. Any little misstep from either side could be a huge deal here. Silico has kind of just been outscaled. Sarvis just gets CC chained though, and he is stuck in the middle of the whole team. His Zonias is down, and he's actually able to get out. Silico drops down to about half, but Avery also loses about 60% of his health. Jacob falls down a little bit low, positioning a bit too aggressively. Silico goes in and just bursts the whole team, and they're able to pick up 3, but Anne's in the base trying to end the game. The whole team is turning to try and collapse on her, and she's running. She may be able to get out. Lilia does not want to burn Smite to get the slow, but does end up doing it, needs it to keep her passive alive, and Anne cannot get out here. Baron's going to be up in 30 seconds, but I doubt, given how they've been playing, that they're going to go for it. These junglers have been fighting for like the last 20 seconds, but Noam is going to pick up the kill, reducing Anne's Magi stacks to 0. And once again, the Metabusters are just walking into base. I don't know why they refuse to go for objectives in this game. Jacob is just going to get burst down by the Akali, is going to get picked up by the final tick of the Ignite. Not respecting the damage there. And now Hong and Garen are both about to be up. Yeah, you cannot end the game anymore. You're going to need to pivot back and try to grab an objective to force it. Jungler is down. They could go for a Baron here, but late game Zeri full build is going to be absolutely terrifying. Very hard to fight into. I don't think Spectres have a way to contest this Baron, and I think if they flip it, they're just going to lose the game. So they're just conceding it over to the Metabusters. And this could be the leverage that Metabusters needs to finally close out this game. They've been basically doubling Spectre's kills all game, but have just not had an avenue to actually end the game. Renekton full build, Lilia full build, Silas looking for his 4th item. Ezreal's pretty strong as well. But on the other side, Zeri and Garen are both full build, as well as the Lulu being almost there. So very strong items on all the carries in this game. Hong's Guardian Angel is back up, which is super important. Garrett is actually itemizing into heal cut now. I'm not sure. It was actually more essential than it used to be because Hong did end up selling the Kraken Slayer and Infinity Edge for the Shield Bow and the Navori Quick Blades, which I thought he was just going to build originally. Sona is backing right before Dragon spawns. It's going to be tough for her to get back in time for it. So MetaBusters is kind of choosing to just play this fight slower and not opt for the early positioning, which I think is kind of tough. You're just going to need to play really well around your Lilia. Try to hit a lot of sleeps. You only hit the Lulu with that. But now, there you go. That's going to be 2. Onto the Garen and the Akali. Hong goes in with a big ultimate. Silico goes down and tries to lock up the backline. Cannot do it. But it's a 1-for-1 so far. Garen is going to drop down low before he's able to get anything. And is so low, but Hong is going to go massive in this fight. So has the Guardian Angel, and the ult is still going. Honen's actually able to pick up the kill before the revive, and Hong is just dead, and that is finally going to be the end of the game. Except their base is dying also. So this is going to be a very interesting way to end. They basically have about 40 seconds to do it. Honen got back and was able to shove it out. Cesarius has called GG in chat. He thinks it's just over. Oh my god, that game was insane. Hong is trying his best to carry with his items, but Avery honestly was the only player on his team that really looked good across this game. It was a rough one for sure. It really looked like MetaBusters was struggling to find a way to end the game. Kept thinking they had it, but trying to push into the Garen was borderline impossible. But banger first match, and MetaBusters does pick up their first win of the season here, and we'll have to see if they're able to make it a series. Alright, I am going to try to log those stats for us, except they are not showing up for me. I hope that this is going to be the same side selections and stuff. I don't know. I'm going to try and pull up the draft and we'll see. Okay, I now see it. Joey is in for Honen this game, and the roster for Spectres is the same. I do think this is going to be a slight upgrade just in terms of comfort on their roles. Don't know what side select is. Looks like Spectres was arguing that their roster is illegal, which is just objectively not true, which is kind of funny. Okay, MetaBusters is on blue side again, it looks like. So the only change really is going to be Joey in for Honen. I do think Honen played really well. He just struggled a bit in the early stages of the game. So I think Joey, who's been a consistently strong laner early, I think is going to be a good kind of fix to that. And I should be able to pull up assets real quick, and then we can hop into the game shortly after that. From what I remember, I think there were some picks in this next draft that are not accurate. I think they were changed in chat, so I'm going to try to consult that, or consult general chat while we look at those, but We'll have to see if I'm able to catch everything. I think it's probably 50-50. Oh, I apologize. I thought I had swapped back to the right screen. Okay. Okay, the champions to watch for Joey. He's the only one that really changes here. The set is a big one. I feel like it can deal with Avery's champion pool pretty well too. So I think that is definitely something we're going to have to look out for. He also is a big tank player as well. His Ornn and Cho'Gath are pretty good too. The key matchup, I'm actually going to look at Hongbaba here. The stats are actually a bit more in Garrett's favor after that last game. It would be 4-0 for Garrett all time versus Hongbaba, which, as I said before, is very funny because I think Hong is generally considered to be the much better player, but I do think people are sleeping on Garrett, although that Ezreal build last game was, I don't really know. It was pretty obscene. I don't think it did much, but I felt like he was going for something. But he did win, so can we really criticize it? I don't think so. Joey, 64 games played, a win rate of 56.3%. Very good KD, has only played 19 champions, which I think is a pretty normal amount, but some people in the server like to play a little bit of everything. But yeah, I think as we mentioned before, the Set and the Ornn are his best champions, so I'd expect to see one of those come out most likely. And then we'll look at Sarveris on the enemy team. 30 games, 50% win rate. Very impressive KDA, 16 different champions. He played Akali again, so not adding to that, but the other stats are slightly off because of the absence of that game. Just going to hop into draft real quick, just got to get it pulled up. I do not know how to copy and paste URLs. Okay, and this should be, that's the same draft. Interesting, okay. Oh, okay, I see it now. Oh, okay. I blame Silico for this one. They asked for the draft link for the second game, and he just sent the draft link for the first game again, and I clicked that one. Here should be the actual draft. Maybe. If it's working. Let me double check. We're looking at the right thing here. And no, this draft also doesn't work. Okay, I'm just gonna look at Spectres' view of this draft and call it a day. Okay, right now it's just loaded, so, oh well. Okay, anyway, we do see similar bans, except they actually did swap sides because I was looking at the wrong draft. Give me 1 second to fix that. Okay, now we should actually be good. Apologies for the delays. Okay, now this is accurate. Okay, cool. Looks like we have similar bans coming out. Caitlyn is actually just banned on red side both games of the series. No one wants to play into it. Elise and Annie still taken away. I think Caitlyn's a very good respect ban against Azarius. He's played very well on it. We are seeing Jin, Renekton, and Lilia banned versus Metabusters, banning the two strongest champions on their team in the previous game, as well as the Jin, because Garrett does have the Jin one-trick name, although I do think he just plays more Ezreal, so is what it is. Swain is going to be the first pick picked up. Not entirely sure what the angle is there. Silas is immediately slammed into it. I think that is a very good pick. Stealing the Swain ultimate is devastating. Ezreal's locked in again, which was left up over the Jin. I think Garrett performed well besides the build, so I think if he's able to do that again and just build items that are more fitting for the situation, I think it would be good. Senna's locked in, but I think they did change this pick to Ashe, which means that I think it's likely going to be Hung support, but I think both of them have played support Ashe before, so I don't think they're locked into that. And then Vi is going to get picked up. It was banned in the second round before. I think Anne just did not like the Udyr enough to go for that one again. And Asona is picked up to pair with the Ezreal again. I think that's a very good selection. Ezreal Sona is very good. I think it's a little bit tougher into Ashe just because the pick potential is a bit worse, but you know, if it works, why change it? Riven and Jax are both banned. Very common picks for Avery, so I don't think it's very surprising. Jax is just very good. Riven is very specifically good for Avery. Set and Ornn banned away. Joey's most comfortable champion is not surprising. Teemo gets blinded here, or potentially picked into the Swain. For Silico, Silico can probably just play Teemo in any matchup anywhere. So it's exciting to finally see it. I think it's been quite some time since we actually saw it in game last. Then Tristana is locked in for the AD carry position for the Spectres. Tristana Ashe is a pretty decent pairing. I don't like it as much as I like some matchups. It's lacking some hard engage to initiate for the Trist, but the Ashe arrow at 6 is going to be more than enough. And then the Mordekaiser's picked in here for Spectres. I think it does quite well into most of Joey's champ pool. He's known for playing a lot of tanks, and Mordekaiser kind of just beats all of them. Sion is locked in, which again, a pretty Mordekaiser favored matchup because it's a tank, but Sion has been very good in the meta right now, and I think having a very solid front line when you're lacking it elsewhere for the Metabusters is pretty good. So we'll have to see how that top lane matchup goes. I think there is potential for it to go differently than it did in the previous game, and we could see some fun Sion builds here, because I feel like in a lot of the matchups where he does really poorly against people who normally can deal with stacking health, he can opt for his like lethality build and do the kind of like the boss strategy and just go for some weird stuff. Looking at statistics, I think Mordekaiser Sion is actually closer to even than one would expect, but is what it is. I'm going to try to generate some matchup graphics for us to look into this. I'm going to assume that Hong is going to be playing AD carry this game, and Cesarius will be the support. Obviously, don't know for sure. Could always be Tristana mid and Swain in the bot lane, but I'm just going to do my best guess, and we'll see what happens. Could also be Sion in the jungle and Sylas in the top lane. I know they've gone for both. I feel like Mordekaiser kind of beats both, though. I feel like Sion's more of a Joey champion, but we'll guess, and I'm probably going to be wrong about something, so we'll see. Okay, and going back, player matchups, the only two that are present are what we saw before, because I have not added the game. Past performance, Avery has been 1-1 on Mordekaiser. Joey has not played Sion before, so I might be wrong, and it might be Joey on the Sylas top. Anne is 1-0 on the Vi. Sarvis is 1-0 on the Swain. Tristana has been Hong's one of his worst performing AD carries in terms of winning, but he does have good stats on it. Garrett, I believe, is 10-8 on the Ezreal now, and Jacob is now 5-1 on the Sona. Those are both pretty terrifying. And Silico is 6-3 all time on the Teemo with a pretty impressive KD. Yeah, Teemo is actually 3-0 this season, which is kind of funny. Swain and Trist are also doing quite well. Nothing else here is super remarkable. Sion has beaten Mordekaiser the one time we've had this matchup, and Trist has been slamming Ezreal. Nothing else has really been played. I think there might be one more slide to check out real quick, but turns out that there is not. So now we're going to load into what I thought was the first game, but is actually the second game. Oh, am I full screen? I am. Okay. Alright, that should be a little bit better. Okay, cool. So obviously, given the one game advantage, MetaBusters is looking to just win the series right here. Whereas Spectres is going to try to struggle to keep themselves back in the game. And I was right, we are seeing some weird flexes come out. I was right for the MetaBusters, surprisingly, but I was wrong about the Spectres. We are seeing Tristana mid into Teemo, which I think is a little bit worse, to be honest. It's possible that they thought it was going to be Silas mid, Teemo top, Sion jungle, or some variation of that. And we do have Ashe Swain in the bot lane. Triss mid we've seen a lot more recently in pro play. I think this might be our first Triss mid in the server in like years at this point. But Ashe Swain is very oppressive, lots of slows. And it should be able to punish the Sona Ezreal. I think Spectres does have a lot of draft knowledge on their team, so I think this is probably what they cooked up to counter it after the last game. I think scaling this game is like insanely in favor of the MetaBusters though, so I think Spectres is going to need to look to get stuff done early and probably try and grab the Soul to have a chance of getting anything done. Garrett does get grabbed by the Swain root very early in the game, forces out the exhaust, and Garrett might have to flash as well. And it is, yeah, it's just too late for him to flip, but they heal, and Garrett then flashes in and dies to first blood. Hong does have the TES emote, and Jacob flashes in for a kill and is able to pick one up in trade onto Hong, but I think that should just solidify another kill for Caesarius. So Caesarius is going to be 2-0 to start this game, I believe. Unless Jacob can survive long enough for Silico to show up. This game is insane so far. Silico burns double sums looking to get a kill on Caesarius. I don't think he's going to even be able to do it. But Caesarius walks back up just to die. Okay, so 2 kills for both teams. Silico is now looking to get blown up by Sarverus. Very good blind. Prevents Sarverus from stacking the explosive charge too much. And that is not how I expected this to start. Kill for Sona, kill for Teemo, and 2 kills for Swain. Caesarius is the strongest player on the map right now, and there is a little bit of a gold advantage to the Spectres since they were able to pick up the first kill. I think both Garrett and Caesarius were completely out of these plays until they walked back in a little bit. But I don't know. I think you just want to walk back in and try and pick up more kills, and sometimes it does not go in your favor. Jacob just immediately gets snared again, and he is going to die. There's no way he survives here. Anne is coming for a gank here, and Silas is just trying to farm his blue buff. He's going to be able to kill it, but Anne's looking for an invade. This could be pretty bad for Silas. But is actually able to interrupt the Vi Q and just almost picks up a kill. Garrett throws the auto over the wall, does not go for the Q like some Ezreal players would have, knowing that the Vi has the flash. And the auto attack is going to secure the kill. This game has been absolutely insane. 3-3 so far, but a bit of a gold lead over for the side of the Spectres, mostly just top lane due to the CS differential. Mordekaiser's going to have a much easier time in the early lane here. Yep, and Garrett does get hit by another snare here. Caesarius has been playing really well with his E's. Has hit most of the ones I've seen, and just hits another one. Garrett is getting very punished here. I really like Spectre's adaptation here to try and punch this lane, but it's going to be hard to really punish the Ezreal when he's sitting on double buffs after killing the jungler. And did just kind of get caught out in that invade. Huge play from Noam. Did a very good job to kind of interrupt the VIQ and completely flip the fight. And now Hong and Caesarius are actually just pushed out of the lane. And the Teemo is going for an aggressive roam. Teemo knows he's not going to be able to get too much done mid by himself. And he's actually able to just pick up a kill onto Caesarius, and they're going to look for Hong next. Yep, and that is a double kill for Silica. Just walks down, pops both low health members of the Spectre's bot lane. And this is going to be very rough for them. They have 3 auto attackers on their team. Vi is going to be in trouble, Ashe is going to be in trouble, and Triss is going to be in trouble and trying to deal with the fed Teemo. And now shows up, looks to get something done, but double subs immediately burn, exhaust comes down as well as the heal, and now Silica is showing up to try to prevent Sarvis from getting the kill onto Noam, who was holding his wave for him, and he is able to do so, disengages successfully. Now the dragon is up. First one is going to be a Mountain Drake. Looks like no one is going to go for it immediately. Lots of skirmishes have been going down. Silico did do an early buy the Dark Seal, so that has 4 stacks on it. Force Mordekaiser ultimate comes down in the game. Flashes behind the Scion Q, doing very well. Joey is actually just able to get out, breaks out of the ultimate just in time to save himself. This has too big of a health bar for Mordekaiser to shred down as fast as he needs to. It looks like Spectres is going to be able to secure this first dragon here. Denying the mountain from Joey is going to be very important. Getting it onto your Swain and your Mordekaiser is also going to be very helpful. Silico is being engaged on. It does not have the blind there, but Sarvis uses the ultimate a bit early and just doesn't have the damage to get the kill onto this Teemo. Would have been a huge shutdown, but is not able to pick it up. Game has slowed down very considerably since the early game. I think now Spectres is a bit scared to start skirmishes because of how strong the Teemo is. Silico is going to look for roams, I assume. It's going to be tough for either Silico or Noam to affect the top lane too much just because the Mordekaiser ultimate allows him to stall for reinforcements to arrive, but it looks like we are actually going to see a fight top lane. Mordekaiser ultimate is not available, so this fight is actually going to be very good for the Metabusters. Noam has a Mordekaiser ultimate, traps Mordekaiser in his own death realm, and is going to just be able to pick up the kill. And Silico just kills Vi on the backside of this fight. Hong is here trying to affect the map, but the Metabusters are just too strong here. There's not much they can do. Very heads-up play by Jacob to rotate here to the Rift Herald and make sure nothing can be done. Garrett is going to be able to just farm safely enough on his own in the bot lane. Looking for the Triforce build again. I think just want some extra tankiness into Caesarius. Honestly, you could go for a Divine Sunder this game. The tankiness of like Vi, Swain, and Mordekaiser is going to make that a very nice item to go for, but it's not what he's doing. He does have the Hearthbound Axe, which I believe exclusively builds into Wit's End and Triforce. Joey's in a rough spot here. I believe Avery's Mordekaiser ultimate is available, but does not burn it and just lets Joey walk away, fizzling out the play, and Anne ultimately does waste her time looking for this play. Silico is just running down Hong, gets so much damage down. Trist is blinded here, and again, the Tristana ultimate just saves this, the Teemo. Doesn't do enough to finish him off. The next Dragon's up in about 2 minutes. I think MetaBusters is probably going to look very heavily into this one. They were able to trade the first one for the Rift Herald. The second one is going to be a little bit more important, as there's not going to be a Rift Herald up to match it. They do have a very strong Teemo. He can just get into the pit early, stealth, and then just one-shot whoever he wants to at this point. He has most of his Leandries, and he has the Swerk Shoes for extra pen, and a lot of stats from his Dark Seal. Noam is sitting over the wall there in the bot lane, but Anna is sitting over the wall in the top lane. Looks like Vision is going to just end up diffusing both of these plays. The Rift Herald is dropped over the wall bot. Avery's dropping down low, but Noam's looking for a flank bot, but Silico is looking for a flank top, and just does not see this coming. Mordekaiser's going to take enough damage that he's just going to die before he gets the chance to ulti. Anne's able to pick up one onto the Scion, and Joey's just going to go for farm as Silico's going to pick up yet another kill. He is 6-0 at 11 minutes. 10 stacks on the Dark Seal. We might just see a Medjai's picked up super early in this game. So Zarius gets yet another good route onto Garrett, but Garrett does have the Arcane Shift available, does just get out here. Thins the wave a little bit, and Noam just walks mid, catches out Sarvis, and Sarvis burns in ulti. This time, I think a very good Tristana ulti prevents Silico from being able to get the kill. Jacob is falling down quite low, does burn double sums, and the heal comes out versus Garrett as well. Jacob is just going to die. Garrett is trying his best to get damage done, but again, he does not have tier this game, so he has no mana sustain. And that is going to continue to be a problem as he does not have Essence Reaver. And oh no, Sarvis walks in to a bush, steps right on a Teemo mushroom, and is just burned down by the Yordle Scout. Anne is just chained up here by the Silas and gets his Q, gets her Q interrupted by the ultimate, the stolen ultimate from Silas. I think this should be a pretty free dragon for the MetaBusters. I don't really know who can contest it. All their members are in base. Swain, W, like maybe. Sion is actually the one who last hits it here. But once again, this is looking a lot like last game. Noam and Silico are doing quite well. And I don't really know who on the other team can really stop them. Silico does get a buff from Jacob, runs in, but is actually getting collapsed on by 3 people. There's no way he wins this. Gets hit by the Ash Arrow, and it's just going to die. Is able to pick up a kill in return, but that's 1,000 gold shutdown onto Anne. Is able to purchase the Black Cleaver with that gold. I'm not sure whose resistances you're necessarily shredding here. Scion, yes. No one else. I think this might be one of the rare games where you actually do want the Kempunk Chainsword first because of the Sona healing and the Silas. Swain has completed the Rod of Ages. It will fully stack at around 20 minutes. Definitely a threshold that we're going to want to look for. Avery is just caught out here. The Silas Mordekaiser ultimate is just going to lock him down, and he has all the reinforcements he needs to make sure that Avery dies. Avery actually might pick up Jacob here. The CC from the Scion and the Silas is too much, though. Is not ultimately going to be able to get it done. And that is going to be the second Rift Herald of the game secured for the Metabusters. This game is looking quite dire for Spectres, especially as they were looking to have the early game advantage this game, which is just not happening. Silico is back up to 7 stacks on the Dark Seal. No Medjais yet. Looks like the Hextech Alternator is picked up. I believe that is going to be for Shadow Flame. The extra pen is going to be very good. I think you can also do Horizon Focus and it'll proc on all your shrooms. I don't know if that's necessarily like worth it though. We'll see what he goes for though. I think people sleep on Horizon Focus. I think it is a very good item for just raw AP. But it definitely is missing the penetration that Shadow Flame has, which would be very good into this team specifically. The Rift Herald is dropped mid. They're trying to just get gold onto Silico by maybe being able to lock down a turret, but I think it's going to be a bit rough to try and do. Tristana just has so much wave clear, so they're going to get some damage down, but ultimately are not going to get the turret. Garrett fires the ulti, looking to get something done, and the Ash ulti comes out and hits the Sona. Jacob should not be able to survive there, except there's just enough people that they don't want to trade the 1-for-1 onto Jacob. The next dragon is spawning in about a minute. It's going to be an Ocean Soul this game, which would be absolutely ludicrous on either team. But the Scion is going to be basically unkillable if he's able to pick that up. And Silas with the Swain ulti is going to be in a similar state. Yeah, Joey does burn the flash there. I'm not necessarily sure if he had to. I think he's just tanky enough to walk out, but wants to be able to stay in lane here. Doesn't want to be forced out by a particularly bad trade. And now Caesarius is here, which makes it a bit tougher for Sion to survive. There could be a play going here, but there's no Ezreal or Silas present for the Metabusters, so it's going to be a little bit tougher. Hong is going to step on a Teemo Shroom. It's going to take basically half his health, and he walks up to try to get the health plant, but Garrett was sitting in the bush and is able to pick him up. Joey's in a rough spot here, was almost able to get Caesarius, but instead is ulted by Avery. The Avery ultimate actually does force Caesarius' ultimate to expire, but I don't think it matters. I think Joey is just going to be dead here, but they're trading kill on Joey for the Ocean Dragon, which I just don't think is worth it, especially when Sion has his passive and is able to just get a lot of farm after he does end up dying. Noam is just going to walk up and steal that camp, and does not even have her upgraded smite, so there was no contest there. There's really just been like a massive jungle and mid gap this series. Silico and Noam are both playing out of their minds. I think you could attribute it to the fact that Noam is now playing real champions, And Silico has kind of always been insane, and now having someone else strong on his team to back him up is very helpful. The gold lead is still only 1,000. I would have expected it to be higher, but the bot lane for Spectres is doing quite well, and Mordekaiser is also playing quite well into the Scion as well, so keeping it pretty close. I think we're going to see the Jack show completed soon for Mordekaiser, which is going to be not great for Metabusters to have to deal with. He's going to be a lot tankier, and it's going to be very difficult for Ezreal, Sona, Teemo, Silas to kind of burst him down. So we're pretty much just going to have like a huge meat shield tank on both teams. Although Scion is going to be a lot harder to deal with than the Mordekaiser because he's already at about 3,500 health. The Roa did just complete for Swain, so he gets the extra level, which puts him one ahead of Garrett, so nothing too crazy, but gives him a lead where he didn't have one before. Garrett does just burn the flash. I'm not sure if he had Arcane Shift up, but Jacob does get hit by yet another Ash Arrow. Hong has been very accurate with him this game, usually grabbing someone. Unfortunately, I think this is the first time there's actually been follow-up to get a kill. Silico's going for a 1v1 on the Trist, but it's very tough considering there's a control ward sitting in the bush, playing around vision very well. This time, though, no vision of Silico, and he's just going to run up and prevent Sarvis from being able to take these Krugs. Spectres committed a lot of people mid to grab that turret, which is just going to allow Joey to get the side lane turret pretty much uncontested. Does have to walk away, though, as he knows Mordekaiser's coming back. So I think that is going to have to wait to fall for another day. Silico is stealthed in lane. Unstealthed just to clear out this wave. There are shrooms defending him. So he could look for a pick if they try to make a play. Gold lead is almost down to 0, but a lot of the key carries are fed for the side of Metabusters, so I don't think it's a huge deal. You're really just worrying about the Swain for the Spectres. Silico does get hit by an Ash Arrow here. Hong does walk onto a Shroom, but it's ultimately not going to matter. But Sarvis walks into yet another Shroom. I think Silico was able to throw one down into the wave right before he died and was able to pick up a 1-for-1 exchange there. Hong is backing right next to a Shroom. I think if the minions walk into it, it could be bad, but looks like his back is uninterrupted. But they do kill Silico on one side of the map, and Metabusters is going to be able to take Baron because of this knowledge of where the Spectres players are. It's a very early Baron at about 22 minutes, and I just don't think the other team's expecting it. Yeah, really good heads-up play by Metabusters there. The W comes in to check where people are, but it's a bit too late. Jacob was able to hit a stun, does get pulled in by Caesarius, but now that Silas is in the middle of the fight, Hong shows up a little bit late to the fight, and I just don't think there's a way for Spectres to force anything. I don't think they saw the Baron coming. There were some pings coming out towards the Dragon, but I just don't think Spectres realized Metabusters was going for it. Yeah, unfortunately for Silico, I do think the Mordekaiser is always going to be a threat onto the Teemo. 2 ultimates were just burned for Silico, but Silico is actually able to stall Avery for a very long time with the blind, but they are going to end up trading 1-for-1. Avery is now falling as well, so this is 2 kills for Metabusters, and Noam flashes in, has this Silas stolen Swain ultimate, which keeps him alive and does so much damage. That is a 3-for-1 in favor of the Metabusters, and Hong is getting poked out of this fight. I believe this is just going to be a sole point for Metabusters at 23 minutes. Yeah, this game for them is looking just as dominant as the previous game. I wonder if they will have learned their lessons from the past game and know how to close out the game, or if we're going to see another long one that could kind of go either way. I think Joey on the Scion should help with that. I feel like as someone who plays a lot more top lane, you're going to know how to accurately use your split pushman conditions and try to pressure down the side lanes to force an end to the game, but we will have to see. I also think having a fed Teemo instead of a fed Renekton is going to be very helpful for the meta busters because Teemo does scale much better than Renekton does. Okay, there is an engage. No one whiffs the Ashe ulti, but Hong does not survive here. Attempts to get out using his own Ashe ult, but it does not work. Silico is just striding up the lane, gets grabbed by Never Move. And they're just going to pick up this tower. The Baron buff is very strong. Unfortunately, they do not have much of a minion wave left, and Baron buff did just end, but Scion is going to use one auto attack and destroy half the tower's health with his Demolish. But they might be overforcing a little bit here. Noam is not present for this fight and has no TP to join. Yeah, that play was insane. Sarverus got so much damage down, and also doing a lot, and Sarverus just cleans up here. Once again, Meta Busters just does not understand how far they're allowed to walk up, and 4 of them die completely unnecessarily because they wanted to get an extra tower. Noam and Avery are both in the Shadow Realm. The advantage for the double Mordekaiser ulti is whoever used it second, which I believe was Avery in this situation, and Caesarius is able to pick up the kill from long range. And with that play, the Spectres are actually able to regain the gold lead. Caesarius has been playing out of his mind this game. Joey does ult towards top lane, but only to stop the wave. Not looking for any fights. He's building towards both the Sunfire and the Titanic Hydra. It's going to be a very damaging and tanky build, especially with the Heartsteel. Those empowered auto attacks just chunk the enemies, especially with squishies like Tristana and Ashe. So it looks like Hong did end up taking a heal cut this game. I'm glad someone on that team did. I think Caesarius is also going for it. Very wise. Looks like we're seeing the exact same Ezreal build coming from Garrett. So that is something that could be improved on. Or maybe he's just doing it to maintain their meta busting status. Silico is building towards maybe the Death Cap or maybe a Horizon Focus. I really can't tell. He has a lot of components. We'll have to see what he combines them into. I think he's just leaving his option open right now and just has a lot of raw AP as well as some haste. Caesarius does get his ultimate stolen, which is going to be huge for when Baron does spawn in 20 seconds. There are shrooms set up all over the jungle. There's 3 sweepers on the side of Spectres, but they still end up walking into mushrooms. Joey does get pulled by Mordekaiser to start the fight, but that's not really how you want to initiate. You're never going to kill the Scion. And Asher does come down, hits Garrett. Joey and Noam are both very deep in this fight. Scion eventually does fall, and the Mordekaiser ulti is down onto the Teemo. And this is a triple kill, quadra kill, pentakill for Sarverus. Is able to pick up all 5 of the Tristana. The reset's coming in super strong, and he just gets so much damage. Yeah, them all being clustered up like that really does benefit the Tristana. Is able to stack up the bombs and just hit so many people. That was actually a clean 5 for 0. I thought Metabusters was at least going to be able to get one there, but ultimately we're not able to. And they're heading down to the dragon, looking to pick one up. Denies the soul from the Metabusters, as well as getting the Baron denial. Silico has now completed the death cap. It's going to make this next fight a bit more scary, but Spectres are in a very good position here. They're ultimately going to fall off a little bit, but Trist is going to scale super heavily here. They just need to find a different way, or the Metabusters need to find a different way to play fights to be able to survive there, because playing all clustered up into Swain Trist was not the way to do it. Ash Arrow coming down, but it's actually able to be dodged here. Jacob walks up for a stun, but just dies for it. Does not respect the power of Vi. Noam goes in with the stolen Vi ultimate, is looking to get something done. Is not able to get a kill in return, though. It is a 4v5 for the Metabusters. Yeah, and Garrett is just not doing any damage here. Gets pulled by Caesarius. He is probably just going to die and drops down low. They stun the Scion, though. I'm not sure how much that's going to do for them. But they could just be able to end the game here. They have a full 5. Jacob is up, but there's just so many minions in base, and I don't know who can even wave clear. The Shroom is sitting in the middle of all the minions, but it's just not getting hit, and they're sweeping out every Shroom that gets placed down. Joey's going in, hits a 4-man knockup, and Silico is looking to clean up this fight. Joey does fall down low, but yeah, Noam goes into the back, does not end up getting anything, and I think this is just going to be the game for the Spectres. They're able to come back from the initial loss. Well played by Spectres. We're able to come back from a game that looked kind of rough, looked very similar to the previous game, but this time Metabusters did the same thing. They pushed for a tower that they didn't need to try to take, and Spectres gets a wipe, gives them a lot of gold, gets them back in the game, and then they're able to leverage that advantage to end up winning the game ultimately. It looks like Metabusters once again has chosen the blue side. I do not know what the roster is. Maybe it's in season discussion. Okay, I have no clue who the roster is. Interesting. There's also a no pick, and I don't think they ever said who that was. Oh, Honan is in for Joey. Okay. So they're going back to what they had in the first game, and I think the slide select is swapping back to what it was before. All right. So I think these are just going to be the same as what we saw for the first game. So I'll see if we can just get into draft real quick. All right. Okay, and it is 1-1 between these two teams. These bans are pretty similar to what we saw before. The Ezreal is finally banned. Silas is taken away from Noam. He did play pretty well on it. They're leaving the Teemo up. I think they knew it kind of fell off in the late game, so they're willing to let him have it. And then Elise Annie Zeri instead of whatever it was before. I think Elise Annie Ari. Thresh is just locked in first, I think. That makes sense for Honan. He's back on comfort, and they might be trying different roles or something. We'll have to see. It could just be the Thresh top that they like so much. This Ashe Swain is just picked up again. It's a very good combo. It felt like Garrett and Jacob had no clue what to do into it. We're seeing the Sivir picked up. That could at least spell shield some of those abilities. And then the Maokai is locked in, presumably jungle. Udyr is picked up into that and is back on her more comfortable champion. And then we see Lilia banned to cover the Udyr. I think that makes a lot more sense. Riven and Darius banned away from Avery, and then the Renekton is taken away from Silico, despite the Akali not being present in the game. Tristana is picked again. They're just going for the exact same full bot side that they went for last time. Jax notably did get through draft here. I believe Cassante was picked as the last pick, and then Malzahar was picked into Tristana, and then Jax would be the final pick. I think it does very well into Cassante and Sivir, as well as it just being a very good champion that has not really been let through draft pretty much all season for Avery, I believe. I'm going to... Actually, I know I'm just going to get the placement of these champions wrong. So let's just hop in the game as fast as possible and try to figure out who does end up winning this series. And we should be loading the game any second now. These teams are neck and neck going into the final game here. Alright, here we go. I'm honestly expecting to see more of the same. I think Metabuster should be able to get an early lead in this game, especially with the difference in their comp. I think Maokai early can do a lot here and should be able to get play set up for everyone else across the map. I think shifting Silico into the top lane is kind of interesting here. I feel like not very many people this season have been able to shut down servers, and Silico is actually doing a pretty good job of that. So I think maybe continuing that could have been a good move, but we are just seeing Silico take the Cassante. Does not get counterpick to it, and they should have known that the Jax was coming, so I think this is a bit of an interesting selection, but they do get the Malzahar picked into the Trist, and this is once again not an off-meta game from them, so we'll kind of have to see how that goes. Silico is trading very aggressively early, trying to stop the Jax before he's able to get online. And it looks like Jacob and Honan are doing a little bit better than the bot lane was able to do in the last game, not getting constantly pulled in by the Swain. I think the Thresh does offer some more safety. Sarvis is just going for an all-in here, gets so much damage, is not ultimately able to finish it off because of that silence from the Malzahar stopping the play. But does get a lot of damage out. Caesarius and Hong are actually laning very well. They're able to keep Jacob basically completely off the wave, even with the long range of Sivir. Just not able to pick up as many minions as you'd like to see. Definitely struggling into the pressure of the very difficult matchup. I think just dropped about 5 out of the 6 of those minions. Pretty unfortunate. Caesarius is dropping down quite low, gets ignited, but there's just no follow-up. Jacob flashes, but isn't turning to target Hong, so just takes too much damage. And I believe Hong is just going to flash, pick up first blood, and then the root comes down, and that is going to be a double kill for Hong Boba. Yeah, that was just a bit rough. Honan definitely saw a very good play. The follow-up could have been there, just the coordination between this bot lane is not as good as Garrett and Jacob's was, I don't think. Looks like they're both going for different things. Jacob and Garrett were both down to just play super slow and not worry about it, but Honan saw a play that was pretty good. There just wasn't enough follow-up to get anything done. Hong is definitely doing a good job of roaming around the map. Was just topside. Sarvis going for another all-in play. Is again not able to get enough damage to get the kill, but enough that it's a huge impact to the lane. Is actually forcing a back out of Garrett. Does end up canceling it. We could see a Lost Chapter attempted to be purchased pretty soon, but Tristana goes all-in again, but does get silenced before she's able to complete the combo. Jacob is able to just dodge the never move there. It does throw up the spell shield, but it is not required to deflect the ability. Neither team appears to be looking too heavily for the dragon. The Medbusters do have better vision surrounding it, but they're not necessarily looking to pick it up real quick. Silico is doing pretty well in the top lane, has a nice farm advantage, but I don't know how long that's going to last for. Jacob did do a nice spell shield there. Was able to survive the play that could have gone really poorly for them. Silica is looking to trade once again, but the Jax ultimate comes out very quickly. Noam is here to turn. Avery realizes that and then immediately flashes away. Silico otherwise could have gone for an ultimate and locked him down into the Maokai, but was unable to do so. And Anne walks up into a Malzahar and just dies. Shows zero respect for Malzahar ultimates. Good play by Garrett there, just knows his damage, stays out of tower range. Everything he needed to do. Does not pull the Cadril and lose it. And Silico stops Avery's back and gets the solo kill. Maybe Avery didn't realize that he still had the ultimate effect up. But now Silico is a bit too far up. Ash is looking for something, is not able to get it. Noam throws an ultimate, but decides to not follow up on it. It's a bit interesting. And now Anne's likely just going to be able to get the kill, except Noam just pops a flash. Okay, Triss is getting the reset onto Noam here. Should just be able to finish off the kill. Exhausts Noam and just very free. I don't know what the Maokai ult was necessarily trying to go for there. Does not end up picking anything up. And Hong and Anne are both top lane. They're looking to stop Silico from getting a lead this game. Hong is just outside of vision, I believe. But now there's just 5 top. So many different roles are represented here. Garrett just looking to shove the wave out. Sarvis has not been able to pick up a kill on him. Both mid laners have been playing very well this game, very safe, just trying to get leads in their own way. Both have a kill and about 66 CS. Jacob's actually doing pretty well by himself down here in the bot lane. Noam could look for a play. Does not have the ultimate, but is just going to be able to grab the root. But Cesaris is going to heal so much. Is not ignited, so there's no heal cut. And Cesaris is just going to be able to pick up 1 kill. And it might be another with the W later on. Anne sees that Silico is way too far up. Silico tries to dash out here. Silico is trying to shove Anne towards his tower, but just ends up dying. I think the ulti may have been a bit too late. A good attempt from Silico to get out there. It's definitely a tough play when you have Udyr ghosting at you. And this is going to be a huge gold injection into the top lane for the Spectres. This Jax is going to get so strong early on into this game. The Roa is completed again at 10 minutes for Swain. Cesarius has been playing these games very well. He's able to pick up these items very quickly, which allows him to get stronger earlier into the game and become more of a threat. We will again see it complete at about 20 minutes, although I think it's like 2 seconds later this game than it was the last game, which realistically doesn't matter. Honan does end up missing the hook there. Definitely trying his best to stay positive this game. Has had a couple rough lanes, but still throwing out the Be Happy emote. Does synergize with the B Malzahar skin in the mid lane. Very important. Garrett walks up to try and stop the back. Trying to get any advantage he can versus Sarvis. Knows it's going to be a very tough matchup for him to win. Garrett gets so much damage down onto Sarvis. I don't think he's going to be able to pick up the kill. Just because of the tower, but basically just sub Sarvis out of the lane as soon as he gets back. This game is looking way easier for Spectres to play. I think it's going to be a lot harder for Metabusters to deal with the Sway in this game. And it was already pretty hard for them to deal with it last game. So it's looking a bit rough, especially because there's about a 3,000 gold lead already. Yeah, Jacob is down about 50 CS. That's where most of it is, in addition to the kills. Honan looks to secure a kill. Noam's actually able to pick up the kill onto Cesarius there, and is falling down low. Does get taken out. And Sarverus might die as well, but Honan actually gets hit by an Ash Arrow. The Trusty ulti comes down at the correct time here and is able to pick up the kill. And Silico roamed down here to help out the dragon. I don't know how necessary it is, and I'm pretty sure it just gives over your top tower for free to the Jax. Maybe not entirely, but there's no teleport to really defend this. And Jax is going to eliminate this entire wave. Oh, and Cesarius finds Jacob on the recall. And is just able to pick up the kill. Yep. And Avery is able to pick up first turret in under 14 minutes, getting all 5 tower plates. So much gold in his pockets. He has a slight lead over Silico, but mid lane and bot lane are not even close in terms of gold. About 1,000 in each position. You do see the Divine Sunder I picked up for Jax this game. I think it's very smart. You're playing to Cassante, Maokai, and Thresh, all very tanky. Also, I'm pretty sure the Jax changes just make it much better on him. Silico is here looking for a play on Hong. The flash comes out immediately, does not want to get Cassante ulted through that wall. Would put him in a very bad spot. Spectres is rotating out more players for this Rift Herald than Metabusters are, but Honan has made his way here, so it's about equal at this point. It was both bot laners alone down there, but Honan actually does get picked up by this Ash Arrow and is just going to fall down. The Triss has so much follow-up. So this should be a pretty uncontested Rift Herald for the side of Spectres. Jacob's looking to get some work done on this tower. He's gotten it down to about half health, and he's catching up a little bit in the CS department. Okay, the suppress does come down onto the Jax, extends the damage from the Malzahar. Honan hits the Q, but does not follow up on the Q in time, so is unable to secure the kill. Honan does hit another really good hook. That time does chain the flay correctly, but Noam is just not in range to finish him off. Sarverus goes in. The Ash Arrow does not find Garrett. Very good flash to avoid it. Sarverus falls down low, but is not ultimately going to die. No ulti was available for Garrett. Hong does get hit by a hook. Honan's been playing very well this game. Honan is just going to have secured a kill for his mid laner here. Garrett is playing very well, 2-0-2. Not necessarily keeping Sarverus out of the game. They've both not really been interacting with each other too much, but both individually have been playing very well, so props to them. And Honan shows up again, could look for another play, but I'm pretty sure Cesarius just wins these. Starts the fight off with his ultimate, stays on top of them, but the Thresh cage is slowing him down a lot, and I think Jacob and Honan should just be able to kite this out. And yeah, Cesarius is just not able to find anything there, but hits a double root on the never move. Sarvis goes in with the resets, and it has another jump. Jacob is falling down low, but Sarvis is ultimately going to die to Maokai, I believe. Never mind, gets the kill on Jacob and is able to reset his way out of there. Sarvis is now 5-0 in this game. And Avery is continuing to try and split push down, looking for another side lane tower. And it looks like Silico is just not having the impact in this game he was able to have while he was playing in the mid lane. He's kind of cornered off to the one side of the map, is not able to impact as much through roams or being in as many skirmishes. A lot harder for him to get to dragons as well. Honan has been hitting hooks like crazy, but it just is not enough for his team, especially because a lot of the players on the enemy team want to be up and close and personal with you. The Swain, Udyr, and Jax especially do not mind getting hooked that much. And this should just be a pretty free dragon for the Spectres. Avery teleports just in case. Is probably just going to look to grab this bot lane tower though. The gold lead is about 6,000 at 18 minutes. And there is a 2-1 dragon advantage in favor of the Spectres, and they're looking to pick up the Infernal Dragon, which is going to be insane for the Tristana and Ashe, as well as the Swain if they're able to get it. And Avery is just going in. There's nothing Thresh can really do to him. He's just going to walk up, grab the tower, and Jacob and Honan cannot contest this at all. The Jax is probably one of the strongest champions in the game right now. You could argue Swain or Trist is stronger than him, but in the side lane, no one can match him. And Garrett is in a bad spot here, and if it bad was not enough, he gets stunned by the Asher. Might almost get out, lasts for so long there, but ultimately is not able to survive. The Maokai ult comes down just a little bit too late to save Garrett, but is able to bail Silico out. Looks like Ann and Cesarius are just going to go for the 20-minute Baron. This would be very impressive if they're able to get it, but the Metabusters are down so far that I don't really know how they'd be able to stop them. Garrett is attempting to stop Avery in the mid lane, but as I said before, Avery's super strong here, has 2 completed items, and that is true of 3 champions on the side of the Spectres. They're all insanely strong. And Jacob is able to split and claim an objective bounty on the bot side, giving 300 gold to his team. Do not know if that's going to be enough to really help him out, though. They're in a tough spot. Garrett's the only champion who's really... Or I guess Silico is also playing quite well, but the 2 of them are the only laners who really have any advantage over their opponents. And Jax, Trist, and Swain are nothing to really scoff at either. Hong is a bit far up here, but the rest of his team is right behind him, so he's actually not in any danger. He's able to dodge out on the hook, and Malachi is hit by the Asher. The Malzahar ulti comes down onto the Udyr, who gets flipped into his team, might end up dying. Silico comes from behind, holds the ulti for a very long time. I think actually might not be able to get any kills because of it. No one on the Spectres has died. Jacob is in the backline inside of 4 people. And Silico is just going to die. Ults at the very last second. Gets 0 kills in this fight. And now the Trist resets are coming down. Double kill, and that is going to be a triple kill for Cerberus here. And Jax is in the base, taking the inhib at the 22-minute mark. They're potentially looking to just end the game here. It attempts to land a hook, but it's just going to get dove by the Jax. And they finish up this turret. Sivir gets immediately stunned in base. Really good arrow from Hong. And Spectres ends the series in style with a 23-minute win. 16-6 on the scoreboard. Very impressive game after the defeat in the first game to the Metabusters. So to end the first round robin, at least for these two teams, the Spectres is going to be 4-1, and the Metabusters is unfortunately going to be 0-5, but they were able to clinch their first game win in this series, so good job to them. I think MVPs, in my opinion, for this series are going to be Noam for Game 1, Caesarius for Game 2, and then Cerberus for Game 3. I'm going to go ahead and cut the stream here. Thank you for anyone who was watching. I know it is at a weird time in the morning.